Hi, my name is Craig Laughlin, and I'm the preaching pastor here at Generations Community Church. Thank you for checking us out by taking a few minutes to watch this short video about sermons for thinking people. Everyone connects to God differently. Some folks connect to God with their emotions. For them, the best part of church is the music. Others connect to God through service. They love being involved in our ministries to the least, last, and lost. Me? I connect to God with my head. I've always been the guy that asked awkward questions. I've never been satisfied with pat or easy answers. In fact, I don't believe there are easy answers to tough questions or simple answers to complex questions. As a teenager, I was always asking my pastor questions. Some people thought I was irreverent. Others thought I was rude. Some just wanted me to stop talking. A huge turning point in my spiritual journey happened one Sunday after church, when I was asking an awkward question. People were staring at me and the pastor was on the spot. Everything changed for me when he looked me in the eye and said, "I don't know. You need to go to school and study theology." What a moment that was. First off, it was the first preacher I'd ever met who had the courage to say, "I don't know." My opinion of the man skyrocketed because he had the integrity to admit it. Truth is, only God has all the answers. There are always going to be things about God we don't understand. We need to be honest and admit it. The second thing that was powerful for me was that he didn't shy away from the question. Instead of telling me to stop asking questions, he told me to dig in and learn. I ended up pretty much making my whole life about knowing God and knowing about God. That moment at the back of that tiny church forever changed my approach to God and religion. From that day forward, I knew God had a place for people like me that asked hard, awkward questions. People that wouldn't put up with shallow answers, avoiding tough questions, or sloppy thinking. Years later, when God called me into the ministry, I decided that I would never preach shallow sermons, and I wouldn't shy away from tough questions. I gave a decade of my life and a great deal of my treasure to the study of God, the Bible, and theology. What that means is when you come to Generations Community, you better not check your brain at the door. You're going to need it. During the sermon, you'll probably hear me talk about what the words meant in the original language of the Bible. I often talk about historical context and culture, events in the Bible and how they impact what is being said. Taking the Bible seriously means we must understand the context in which it was written. Having said that, just because we need to think doesn't mean we can't have fun. I believe preaching should be both fun and intellectually engaging. It should be both informational and inspirational. A professor once told me making God's story dull is almost a sin. I agree. At the end of the day, I believe the Bible is the final authority on all things relating to spiritual life and practice. I also believe it is God's love letter to humanity, and really interesting to talk about. Finally, let me say, I'm a huge fan of doubting. It's only through doubting that we are driven to seek answers and grow in our understanding of God. If you have doubts, tough questions, and skepticism, then Generations Community is the church for you. I promise not to insult your intelligence, and I'll take your questions seriously. I promise you won't offend me with your doubts. So if you're the sort of person that connects with your mind, has questions, and won't expect pat answers, join us this Sunday. Encounter God and His Word with a fully engaged mind. I can't promise I'll have all the answers. Only God has that. I do promise integrity and honesty as we grapple with God's Word. God's message to the ancient prophet Isaiah was, "Come, let us reason together." That offer still stands today. See you Sunday at 8, 9:30, or 11.